5 fitness myths that hurt women 50 plus. Now, if you're a 50 plus woman, there's a good chance you've been affected by and even suffered as a result of fitness myths. Often, fitness myths have been repeated so often, like these crazy internet rumors, that people just believe them. Now, over the years, women have confided the sad fact that some of those myths were even passed down from, grandfathers, uncles, and even loving fathers, thinking they were helping their daughters. They were not. Now, sadly, these are myths that prevented women from feeling confident in their physical abilities. Myths that made them actually feel uncomfortable in their own bodies. Hi, I'm Kevin, your host of Loving 50 Plus. In this episode, I'd like to shine a spotlight on some of the fitness myths I've heard from women clients over the years. Now, I don't pretend as a 70 plus man to be able to ever know how you, as a 50, 60, 70 plus woman, feels about your body. My hope is by discussing what I do know as a trainer of many decades to be fitness myths, we can dispel those hurtful myths and help you realize you really can build extraordinary physical abilities at any age. So let's get started. Myth number 1 was very common years ago, but you still hear it, especially when the subject is women's sports. Now, so many women, and you may relate to this, were dissuaded from joining sports in school due to the wacky notion of an idealized, weaker, more passive female. There is a lot of these old stereotypes in those old black and white movies we watched as kids. The hero guy rescues the damsel in distress. Now, this sounds so ridiculous now, but I've been told by some women that when they were kids, their mothers just kind of accepted this nonsense. Back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, girls in school gyms were, with rare exceptions, limited to some racket sports and some running and, but really no team sports. The best they could look to was cheering on the boys. Now, I know many exceptionally gifted female athletes who were cheerleaders. I just wish they were given the opportunity to excel in other sports, if that's what they wanted to do. Provide opportunity. Now, I've said this before, this greatly affected women in my age group who just didn't get the same chances, the guidance, the coaching, the foundation of participation in team sports as boys. But just as we no longer believe the earth is flat, I'll go with Pythagoras and Aristotle over some internet flat earther, or like the kid in grammar school who thought chocolate milk came from brown cows, we now acknowledge women benefit from physical fitness regimens as much as men. Just look at the Olympics or women's college basketball. I'm very interested to hear about your experiences in the comments section below, so please share. Now, myth number 2, I remember a friend saying her mother told her, "Do you really have to play basketball with the boys? You'll get hurt." And this was probably, in the early 1980s. That dear lady didn't realize her daughter was actually a regular on the local park basketball courts and was trying to perfect her three-point shot, which she had seen watching basketball with her dad. Now, believing that if you exercise you can hurt yourself is definitely a byproduct, a direct result of myth number 1, the nonsense about women being inherently weaker. But wouldn't you think that if exercise, whether it's strength training or aerobics classes at the health club or Pilates or yoga, resulted in women getting hurt, women would avoid them. Instead, the numbers of women participating in these activities has skyrocketed. And after an initial period of adjusting your incredible muscles, joints, lungs, and heart to the new activity, isn't it great to feel confident in your strength and physical abilities? So let's go on to myth number 3. A myth that greatly hurts your ability to become stronger, fitter, and healthier is that strength training, and particularly weightlifting, is not for women. When I was a health club trainer in a downtown health club back in the 1970s, the men's and women's areas were separate. The men's area had, a few bikes, but they also had weight machines and free weights. The women's area had bikes, a few resistance machines for legs, those roller machines that you sat on, and the jiggling belt machines. Now, one of the women I later trained told me she had tried the roller machine and felt like a lump of bread dough getting mushed by the baker's rolling pin. Now, I did have women in my fitness business, and in the 80s and 90s, many health clubs evolved with women and men having access to all the workout areas, as it should be. I had quite a few women clients, and they often came in with a friend. They were anxious to try the aerobics step classes, bopping to the disco music. Well, just working there, I heard Olivia Newton-John's song, Let's Get Physical, and Donna Summer's She Works Hard for the Money so many times. It was tough to get them out of my own head so I could do my own lifting to Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, and Leonard Skinner. Now, initially, many women were not that interested in weight training. I remember 2 women who came into the health club. They were wearing enough jangly jewelry to drown out any clanging of the weightlifters' plates. The weightlifters were pouting. So when I mentioned strength training, they said, oh no. Now, they had just joined one of those diet businesses of the time whose sales pitch was based on whatever the scale said in their meeting weigh-ins. We were told to just get on a stationary bike a little or walk. We don't want to build muscle, they said. And so we're back to myth number 1. Now, at the time, women often came to a health club to firm up. So what I'd ask actually firms you up. It's lean, shapely muscle, of course. So what would firm and shape your lean muscle the fastest and the easiest? It's obviously weightlifting. So after some weeks of bopping Olivia and Donna, some women would ask me to set up a weight training program, and we'd head to the weight machines. Most found them comfortable and easy to use. I would often start women on weight machines because getting into step aerobics to gradually strengthen the muscles and joints that could take a pounding during step classes just made sense. And just a side note, I'd also start the men on the free weights because, it's just a little easier on joints at the beginning. Now that leads us into myth number 4, that strength training, weightlifting, is just too hard. But if you think about it, weightlifting is really one of the simplest and easiest physical activities. Now, running is very good for you, but you're lifting up your entire body weight with every stride. When you weight train, you can start off with a weight as light as a soup can. How many times have you heard that? Grab a soup can. Try 10 to 15 repetitions. Now, maybe you don't want to start out with New England clam chowder. They're pretty heavy, maybe just a can of chicken broth. No, I'm kidding. When you can do 15 reps easily for 2 or 3 sets, reward yourself with a small set of dumbbells, maybe 3 to 5 pounds. There's a good chance it's probably an old set in the corner of the basement or garage somewhere. I'm telling you, after a couple of weeks of strength training, say every other day or so, you'll be amazed that those 5-pounders are easy and you really are significantly stronger. So, okay, now myth number 5 is one that drives me nuts. It's that I'm too old. Now, when I meet people in their 50s, 60s, or my age group of 70 plus, they talk eventually seems to get to infirmities, aches, pains, recent operations, more about what they just can't do anymore. I spoke to an acquaintance recently who just got back from a Florida vacation. Great weather, great pool, he said. I asked how good it must have felt swimming around in the pool while it was cold winter up north. He said, well, I didn't do any swimming in the pool. I just laid next to it on a lounge chair. I asked if he went on a nice hike or bike ride in the warm weather. He said, no, we did sit on the beach here and there. Well, the fact is, while our bodies do go through changes over years, any changes can be positively effective tremendously with consistent physical activity. Many studies indicate women of any age can reap incredible benefits from consistent physical activity, dedicated exercise, and especially weight training. There's no drug and there's no pill that can replicate the muscle and strength building benefit of a simple weight training program. Now, you as a woman absolutely can build firm, strong, lean muscle to stand up straight, feel confident in your abilities, and be able to do any of the wonderful fun stuff that's ahead of you. Now, no matter what you've heard from those old, outdated, and completely ridiculous fitness myths. Now, thanks for watching our Loving 50 Plus episode. I appreciate you being here. You're welcome to join our Loving 50 Plusers communities. And please click subscribe to keep us going. And maybe a thumbs up like. As I mentioned before, I'm very interested to hear about your experiences in the comments section, so please share. What you want for your body, for your life, is what Loving 50 Plus is all about. I'm Kevin, your host. See you on our next video, and please take care of yourself.